What's up, guys? It's your boy Chan the Man, and today I'm going to be talking about how skydiving literally changed my outlook on life. It's if you don't know, I'm assuming all of you don't know. So when I was turning 20, which was 2021, so 2 years ago, I decided to go for a learn to skydive alone. So yeah, it was the most intense week, most fun week, most confrontational week. It was the most like crazy thing I've ever done. And if you're out there and you're considering doing it, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And I remember even like it's from the first jump, you're just alone. So when you're at the plane door and then you're about to jump out, and then like you feel so much fear and so much adrenaline and so much like, is this real? Because it's like when you're normal skydiving, it's a tandem, so there's two people, and that is typically for the person who's in the front. This is their first skydive, so they're not in charge of any of the equipment. They just along for the ride. The dude who's in the back, I think he's called the jump master or something. The dude who's in the back, he's the one completely in control of the skydive. So the dudes in front pretty much just there for the experience. And so, but when you sign up, which I had done a few times, but when you sign up to learn to do it alone, you learn to do it alone. Like yeah. So they kick you out of the plane the first time. It's pretty scary. The first time I backed out, but the plane did a big loop around to get on top of the drop zone, and then we got there. It was pretty cool. And then after the first one, although I was super 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 scared, it was, they're there to make sure you don't mess up. That was the one thing I realized. So my fear was sort of unnecessary now. So if it's pretty much like a skydive where you're not in control, but in this one it's more you're jumping alone, but there's someone holding on to you. They're physically holding on to you, and they're going to pull your parachute for you if you can't do it. So there's no way anything can go wrong. So because of that, the first one I was super petrified, but after like the first one, you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad. You calm down, you learn to glide, you learn to land your parachute, you learn all of that. And then after that, you go to the second. And then what they do is so you incrementally go up in difficulty of things to do while you're in the sky. So it's like for the first one, you're just get out of the plane. You can't fail the first stage. And then the second stage is you have to do some slight maneuvering in the sky. So you have to bring your arm around and touch your back, and then look over to this instructor, look over to that instructor. And it's just things like that to make sure you're conscious and you're aware when you're in that overwhelming state. Where a lot of people, they just like a lot of people say for their first skydive they don't remember it because they're in so much shock. They're like so like I don't know what it is, but like it even happened to me after the first time. I remembered it like I don't remember it. It was like 2 seconds of like I remember I was getting in the plane and now I remember I was on the ground. I literally don't remember it. So that happens a lot for people who are overwhelmed and they get dumped with adrenaline and all that. So slowly in stage two, you just look around, you're able to talk to your instructor. Stage three is one instructor, and then you understand it's slowly going up in difficulty. And then so as it was going up, I became more and more confident. So I was becoming less and less scared. So I knew like pretty much there's no way my gear can fail. There's someone watching me, so even if I mess up, they're gonna make sure I'm okay. So my fear was slowly going down, and I was like moving up in the stages. And then so for the next one, what they told you to do is you're supposed to do a barrel roll in the sky, where if you're not sure what that is, I'll put a demonstration up. Yeah, so it's like if you're falling like this, you're supposed to make it so that you flip onto your back, and then once you flip onto your back, you're supposed to flip back onto your stomach. So you do a 360 in the sky, if that makes sense. It's like this, and then you just rotate like all the way around, and you do like a 360. And then so I was like, okay, I assumed this was all right. No, I didn't assume anything. I just did it. I was like, okay, I guess that's it. And then so in the air, I go, and then I attempt the maneuver, and then I mess it up, and then I start falling out of I was falling with no wait, and then so I attempted the maneuver, and then I went for it, and then I completely messed it up, And then so I started to fall out of order and in a panic, and I started to fall really chaotically, and I wasn't in control. I wasn't aerodynamic at all. And then so in that stage, I was able to just like stay calm. I was like, what was I trained to do in order for me to complete this? Because the one thing about skydiving is it's just as much, when you're on the ground, you're putting in just as much work as when you're in the sky. So when you're on the ground, you're studying, there's exams, there's books to read, you have to understand how high the clouds are, you have to understand how dense they are, what's the likelihood of rain, is what wind direction, what's the current direction the wind is blowing in, and how fast. And so say this is the ground, you could be at 10,000 feet and the wind is blowing 100 meters a second northwest. And then, so you have to adjust your parachute so that you're starting to go against the wind so that you can come in straight for the landing. But then as you're doing that, there's also is that at like 5,000 feet, the wind it's not going northwest, it's going south or something. And then so after you get down here, there's a completely different current of wind going a completely different direction. And so you have to make sure you understand how to maneuver, things like that. It's really complicated, but that's what makes it so, like, it's pretty complicated, but that's what makes you feel so confident, is because they understand it down to a science. So every single thing you're doing up there, you understand. And then so on this page, I started to fall out of order, and I just stayed calm. I started to fall out of order. I kept calm. I was breathing through the exercise, and I was like, all right, what should I do now? And I just took a deep breath. Then I remembered the exercise you're supposed to do when you're falling in a chaotic way and you don't have, aerodynamic. And then so I was able to stay calm, and then I flipped back onto my stomach, and then I pulled my parachute once I was aerodynamic, because I was like, okay, I guess I failed the stage, sorry. And I was going down, I was like, damn it, I failed it. But I was proud of myself, because although it had gone wrong in the air, I was able to stay calm and maneuver my way around. And then so it's because of that he was able to, when I got down on the ground and I was like, damn it, I failed this stage. I think this was like stage 7 or 8. Near the end, there's only like 8 stages. So I was like, this was stage 6 or 7, and then I was like almost done. And then I was like, when I got to the ground, I packed my parachute and I put it away. I was like, damn it, I failed this stage. Do I have to repeat it? And then he tells me, he's like, oh, no, dude, you passed. And I was like, I passed? What do you mean? And then he goes, the actual point of this stage isn't to get it so that you pull off the maneuver, because what they don't tell you is that's actually a slightly advanced maneuver. So the point of the test is so that you actually mess up, and then you stumble, and then you fall, and then you start to fall out of order and in this chaotic state. And then so the actual test is to see if you panic or not when you're in that like situation, which was just a crazy thing. And then so when I found that out, it turns out I passed the test just because I was able to stay calm, remember my training, and then just recover and pull it off. So yeah, and then it was just but yeah. And then I remember just going, I was really surprised by that. I was able to pass the test. And then stage 8, I'm not allowed to tell you. That's the one thing they made us sign a contract. I'm not allowed to tell you about stage 8. You got to go there and experience it yourself, because if I tell you, it'll ruin the what do you call it? If I tell you, it would ruin the surprise. So I got to keep that to myself. But yeah, skydiving is one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my life. And if you're thinking about doing it, I highly recommend it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. It's been Chandler Man. Peace out.